Okay, this is a video on just kind of orienting to Project 3C. It's ideally a repeat of what we discussed in class, and then someone asked if I could film a video that's just repeating that information. So the idea with 3C is that we're going to we have we're matching up heart donors and heart recipients in hospitals. And so each row of this file is an event, and so there's a specific formatting to it. If it's a recipient or a donor, then and then the next is female or male, and then a name. And then also there's events for hospitals, a hospital coming available. And so in this project, you're going to have, this is a project on queues, you're going to have 5 queues. And so there'll be a queue for female recipients, female donors, male recipients, male donors, and hospitals. And the rule that we put forward was that a female may only donate to another female, and a male may only donate to another male. So in this case, we would read the first line, the first event is that Maddie Koning is a female, needs a heart, and then Sacre Coeur is available, and then a female, Susie Brown, wants to donate a heart, or presumably she's died, and so we have enough to do surgery, and so then each of these 3 would have been added to the 3 respective queues: female recipient, hospital, and female donor, and so then we would take out the front, DQ the front of each of those 3 queues, and then we would issue a statement saying that Susie Brown donates to Maddie Koning at Hospital Sacre Coeur. And so as we go through and get events, then we'll be putting them in various queues, and after each event we'd be checking to see if that we have the conditions where we could do a surgery. And then at the end, each of the 5 queues is printed. Now I've put out a pretty good amount of starter code, and so here's my starter code. You can see I've set the queue size to be 10, and so you can assume there'll never be more than 10 people in the queue, and you can set your data structure with that assumption. And I've added some print functions, and so I have one called print queue and another called pretty print queue. And the point is, the reason I have 2 is I'm coaching you, or my advice is to do this in 3 steps. And so the first step would just be to test your queue code, and so you should implement the queue. So here's the queue struct. You should add data members, and then these were the methods I had: initialize queue, in queue, and DQ. And so I would encourage you to implement those 3, and then to uncomment this code. And if you do, you should get something that looks a lot like my output right here, except for your pointers are probably different. Then my second bit of advice is that you should read in the file from the 3C input file and learn how to parse it. And so, there's stuff in the slides about fgetS, and so I would encourage you to use fgetS. I think, let's see, here's the example that I had in class. So the problem is, with this loop where it's like while fgetS of line 256 and then fn, where fn is, some file that we've opened earlier, right? There's a problem that this is a very specific set of addresses, 256 bytes, and maybe, following our hotel room analogy, maybe this corresponds to hotel rooms 1,000 to 1,255. And the problem is that each one of these fgetS commands will be writing to the same set of hotel rooms. So the first time through, we would get the first name, and it would be written, the first letter would be put in hotel room 1000, the second letter in room 1001, and so on. And the second time through, the next name is going to overwrite it. So the first letter would again go in hotel room 1000, the second one in hotel room 1001, etc. And so what we need to be doing after each line is to allocate memory to store that line permanently. Or I guess another way to do it would be we could allocate the memory permanently before we do the fget. But in this case, I added a function for you that assumes you do the fgetS, you put it in some temporary location, and then you make a copy afterwards. And and so for my new string method, I'm doing a couple things here. One is, or not new string method, new string function. Here's my function right here. One thing I'm doing is because fgetS won't remove a new line, I am taking out the new line for you by just overwriting it with a null character. Something else that you can do easily, oh, and then also it's doing a malloc, and so it's allocating a new location and it's doing a copy. Something else that I'm doing here is it's important to take off the first 4 characters, and so you can see as I'm doing a new string, I'm doing line plus 4, and that means I'm passing in a pointer to the location, like in this case for the capital H, and just ignoring the R and the M. And so that way the return value of new string would be Hank Childs. For a hospital, you'd only want to go line plus 2 because there's only 2 characters there. And then the name that I get back, I put in my queue of male recipients. So then my advice is that, step 1, test your Q code. Step 2 is just to do fgetS and read and print and make sure you're reading every line. And then step 3 is actually to implement your 5 queues and to be doing NQs and DQs. And here I've actually put in the starter code my exact print statements. So this should make it easier for you to match mine. Here's my match statement, and then at the end when I print the 5 queues, I call my pretty print queue method with each of my 5 queues, and then here's my pretty print queue method. And you can see you need certain functions to make this work. So when you uncompile this, you can see my pretty print queue depends on a function called front, and you may or may not have front, so you'd have to implement it. Okay, I know we talked about this in class. Maybe it went a little fast, so hopefully it's helpful to have this video. If there's follow-up questions, you can, I guess, post on Piazza, and then we can add clarifications. Good luck on Project 3C, everyone.